The Real Happy Pill: How to Improve Your Brain and Make It Smarter. You can upgrade your brain. You'll be able to better cope with stress and anxiety, improve your focus and memory, be more creative, and actually be happier. Sounds too good to be true? However, there is a foolproof way to achieve all of these, backed up by science. Hi, welcome back to UQ. Today I would like to talk about the book The Real Happy Pill by Anders Hansen. He is a Swedish doctor and psychiatrist who completed his medical training at the prestigious Karolinska Institute. Brain research shows that our brains are fantastically malleable, not only in children but also in adults. You may have heard of the word neuroplasticity. They used to believe that the adult brain is rather static, but recent studies found our brain changes throughout our lifetime. As Anders Hansen says, our brain is more like modelling clay. So how can we shape this clay to function at its best? According to brain research, there is nothing else as important as moving our body. The book not only shows the huge impact exercise and training have on our brain, but it also explains how it works and the reasons why exercise is so important. Once you read this book, you will probably want to go for a jog right away. This book is particularly recommended to those who want to be smarter, more productive, more motivated, happier, and healthier. So there's a good chance you're interested for at least some of these reasons, if not all of them. Everyone knows exercise is good for our health. We know it makes us feel better, but it's not that well known that exercise can change our brain. In fact, memory games, Sudoku or crosswords won't boost our brains as much as physical activity does. In this video, I'm going to talk about 1. Positive impact that exercise has on our brain. I'll explain some of the most important positive effects exercise has on our brain and explain the mechanism. And 2, the most effective exercise to train our brain. In this section, I will explain what sort of training we need to do and how much. Let's get started. To begin with, let's look at some positive impacts that exercise has on our brain. When we say training your brain, you might think you would need to study hard or solve difficult puzzles or do some memory games. But the best way to boost our brain function is exercise. By being physically active, not only do you feel great afterwards, but you will become more resilient to stress and anxiety, improve your concentration and memory, and be more creative. It even has positive impacts on your personality. Yes, you can be a better person. Exercise also helps kids to be smarter, and for adults, exercise stops aging of the brain and actually rejuvenates it. Some of these responses are instant, but others take longer time. But either way, regular exercise will have a huge impact on your life. Now that you know exercise is good for your body and mind, and if that's not enough for you to start exercising from today and make it a habit, then you can close the window now and watch something else. But if you want to know the most effective way of exercising to maximize your potential and be happier, I would recommend you watch this video, and if you're interested, I would recommend strongly that you read the book. This book is particularly beneficial because it explains how the brain works and why exercise is good, all backed up by scientific evidence. And if you read this book, or at least watch the video, you'll definitely find it much easier to create a new habit of exercise, because you will realize how much you can benefit from exercise and how much you will be missing out on if you don't exercise. So there are lots of benefits of exercise, but in this video, I would like to focus on the 4 most important benefits. 1. Increased stress resilience. 2. Better focus. 3. Improved memory, delayed aging process. And 4. Better personality. The first benefit is increased stress resilience. By being more physically active, you'll be more immune to stress. I guess everyone has some kind of stress or worry to some extent, but why can't we stop worrying? The reason is because our brain hasn't changed for about 10,000 years. Worrying and being anxious helped our ancestors survive in the savannah. Now most of us are living in a world where we don't have to worry about food or shelter. However, this survival mechanism still works even though it doesn't fit our present day lifestyle. And the amygdala, which is part of the brain the size of an almond, still triggers stress. But when we exercise, the brain thinks we are doing something to increase our chance of survival and thus relieves our stress and anxiety. When we exercise, levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, fall and won't increase as much the next time. Also, the hippocampus and the frontal lobe become stronger and become more efficient as they work as brakes on our overactive amygdala. This way, exercise and athletic training makes you more resilient to stress. Exercise is actually a fantastic antidote to stress, and it even treats depression as an antidepressant. People with depression appear to have low levels of BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. When people are treated with antidepressants, their levels of BDNF increase, but exercise can also increase the level of BDNF. The second benefit is better focus. When we move, the brain releases dopamine. Low and incorrectly regulated dopamine levels lead us to become unfocused and jittery, but exercise helps the brain release dopamine and regulate its levels. ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is associated with decreased dopamine activity, but whether you suffer from ADHD or not, exercise will improve your concentration. Dopamine is a natural concentration medication, and its effect is immediate. The dopamine level rises right after exercise and remains there for several hours. It is also believed that exercise increases the amount of connection between brain cells in the frontal lobe, increasing mental capacity. A study was conducted with people who were training to increase their fitness. One group walked on a treadmill for 45 minutes, 3 times a week, and the other group did low-impact stretching exercises, which didn't raise their heart rate. 6 months later, they examined their memory and brains. The walkers improved at a selective attention test, and the areas of the frontal and parietal lobes changed. The third benefit is improved memory. Exercise not only improves our concentration, but also improves our memory. The brain shrinks throughout life, and the aging process, unfortunately, starts as early as the age of 25. The hippocampus, the memory center of the brain, shrinks as we age, and that's the reason why our memory gets worse as we get older. However, in a study where participants' brains were examined using MRI, they found that the group of people who did endurance training regularly not only became fitter, but their hippocampus became larger, as compared to the group which only did light exercise, whose brain shrunk. This means exercise can stop the hippocampus from aging, and it can even rejuvenate it. Exercise not only stops aging for adults, but it also makes kids smarter. They may become better in maths and reading comprehension. As I mentioned earlier, physical activity also increases levels of BDNF. BDNF protein promotes the survival of nerve cells and development of new ones. So exercise increases the levels of BDNF and thereby strengthens the connections amongst the brain cells, and this is believed to be the reason for the growth of the hippocampus. So, the hippocampus is actually the brain region that is perhaps most influenced by exercising. When the hippocampus is strengthened, not only does our memory improve, but also we will become less emotional and won't react as much to stress. The hippocampus helps us put things into perspective and compare what we are experiencing now with previous memories so we won't overreact. But the benefits don't end there. Research shows that regular exercise can make us happier and even changes our fundamental personality traits. Those who do exercise regularly become less cynical and less neurotic. It is believed that levels of 2 neurotransmitters that are released when we train, serotonin and dopamine, contribute to the differences in our personality. The level of dopamine is relative to curiosity and openness, whereas the level of serotonin is related to neuroticism. The biology that determines our personality is complex, but it is safe to say these play a role in it. So far, I've talked about 4 of the important benefits that exercise has, but how much exercise or what kind of exercise do we need to get these benefits? Unfortunately, the author says there's no clear answer, but throughout the book, it is recommended to do cardio exercise for 30 to 45 minutes a day, 3 times a week. It seems it's important to raise the heart rate. So, an activity that raises the heart rate, such as running, swimming or cycling, would be better than walking. However, even 5 minutes of walking would be much better than doing nothing. It is more important to make exercise a habit, so we do what we are comfortable with and increase the intensity to raise the heart rate as you get used to it. Also, it is recommended to alternate cardiovascular exercise and weight training because, for example, some effects on memory can be achieved by strength training, such as weight training. To summarise, exercise has a huge range of benefits, making you smarter, happier, healthier, and more motivated and creative. And to get these benefits, at least 30 minutes of cardio exercise a day is recommended. I think if you've watched the video this far, you may be motivated to do exercise. However, the most important thing is to make exercise a habit. I've also created a video on how to form a new habit based on the book called Atomic Habits. If you've tried to create a new habit or habits and failed before, I would recommend watching this video as well. Today I introduced the book The Real Happy Pill by Anders Hansen. This book has a lot more information than I talked about in this video, so if you're interested, I strongly recommend you read the book yourself. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video useful. See you next time.